to go for the net, and he's tripped up. No call. Hextall trying to move his man in front. He makes the save with Sandstrom right there and holds on, and Sandstrom is dead.
Dave Brown's fate after his vicious assault on Thomas Sandstrom in New York will be decided here in this office by NHL Vice President Brian O'Neill. O'Neill's judgment will send a clear signal throughout hockey as to how the NHL plans to deal with unnecessary violence in the game. Ironically, Brown's teammate Ron Hextall was playing his first game this season after serving an 8-game suspension for slashing Kent Nilsson in the playoffs. Incredibly, he condoned Brown's attack on Sandstrom.
He's always sparing people and he's slashing, and everything Thomas Sandstrom gets, he deserves.
Well, I don't know. It was just an accident, and I just have to forget about what's happened and try to get ready for the other games.
While Sandstrom was reluctant to talk about the incident, his coach and teammates had plenty to say.
Well, I think it's the Heltheim where she's the cheapest shot I ever saw, and it's too bad. I mean, Sandstrom is a great hockey player, and when you see players like Brown trying some, I would say, killing the Sandstrom, it's really bad.
It's unfortunate. I think the whole game of hockey suffers. It's, you know, last night turning around the channels on TV, the Latin stations were showing it. I mean, it was, it just makes it look like a barbaric sport, and I think it sets the game of hockey back 15 or 20 years.
It's really sad that these things happen, and there's no place for it. This game is, it can be physical enough that you don't really need that type of stuff to really trying to hurt somebody out there.
Well, I would say it's just a life suspension will be enough. But, I mean, a 20-25 game, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Other players were quick to condemn Brown's assault. Among them, Larry Robinson, who skated with Montreal this week for the first time since breaking his leg.
I don't condone the sticks at all. I think it's the worst part about the game right now is that the sticks are up too high. And, you know, maybe I'm guilty of it myself once in a while. But the thing is that there's no place in hockey for something like that.
Countrymen or not, I think it's an incident we don't need in hockey. It's not good for our reputation, and we got parents out there that trying to get their kids to play hockey or maybe pick another game like tennis or whatever, and when I see those things, I don't blame them if they want them to play tennis after that.
I think the NHL has to seriously look at setting a precedent for these sort of incidents, because they certainly want to clear up the image of the league.
The mugging in Manhattan overshadowed Montreal goalie Patrick Waugh's 8-game suspension for clubbing Minnesota rookie Warren Beebe. Other acts of violence this week. On Wednesday, the Oilers' Craig McTavish pushed a high stick into the face of Claude Lemieux, and Lemieux might have been seriously injured if it hadn't been for his face shield. Thursday night, Quebec's Dave Donnelly smacked Willie Plett's head to the ice in Boston with his knee. What's happening to the game? Why so much violence? This isn't roller derby. It's not wrestling. Let's get rid of this ugliness. Throw out the offenders before somebody gets killed. Our first intermission continues after this message.
This NHL season is now 10 games old. Already we've had 5 players handed multi-game suspensions for attempt to injure or deliberate injury. We've had a coach and an official suspended for 3 games. We've had the number 2 draft pick into the stands fighting with fans. Don, this is no longer a debate over whether we should have fighting or not in the NHL. It seems to be a blatant disregard for the rules.
You know what gets me? We pick on hockey so much. I want to go back to football, okay? Jim McMahon. He's out for a season and a half. The guy gets 2 games, right? Right here in Toronto, George Bell doesn't like the way a guy pitched to him. He runs out and kicks the guy in the chest. Andre Dawson last year, I was watching. The guy hit 2 home runs. The guy hits him right in the nose, breaks his nose. It's a big brawl. I don't see the world coming to end in football and baseball. We're paranoid here.
Sometimes when I don't have an answer to a question, I cite other examples. This issue concerns hockey.
Well, I'm considering it. Let's not get carried away. How many games did these guys miss? How many games did Nielsen miss last time when Hextall hit him? He missed the shift. How many games did Sandstrom miss? He didn't miss any. He wasn't hurt at all. Listen, Sandstrom running around, cross-checking guys, sticking guys and everything. You want to play with the bull, you get the horn. And that's what happens to a guy like that. You want to go and stand in a guy's crease, that's what happens to you. I'm sorry, this is the way it is. I don't understand what's going on. Guys are getting 20-game suspension. That's what they're talking about, Brown. 20-game suspension for a guy that only missed 2 periods?
Just nonsense. Let's settle down and talk about this. First of all, to say that nobody was injured is tantamount to saying that a drunk driver who doesn't kill anybody...
Oh, we're bringing in drunk driving now all of a sudden. What is this stuff? Don't bring that stuff in. That's what we're doing in hockey. Wait a minute. You're taking stuff into hockey. Hockey now has gone a little paranoid. You know what they're worried about now, Ziegler and O'Neill? What they're worried about Sports Illustrated. What they're going to say about us and that. Don't worry about it. Brown's a dummy. He shouldn't have done it. He's going to get his 20 games. But don't say things are going out of control. Craig McTavish hits the guy. Happens all the time. Guy standing on the front of the thing. He gets tapped. He gets hurt. Happens all the time. I will admit that brought all this on was the Brown thing. And it was stupid. He should never have done it. And a 2-2 tie with the referee standing there even made it worse. That shows you his mentality. But let's quit picking on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high on hockey. It's not that bad.
Well, Matt Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high.
Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high.
I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high.
I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high.
Snaslin, I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high.
I think, raised a great point.
Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high. Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high. Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high. Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high. Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high.
Yeah, but
of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high. Of course he doesn't like the banging and the smashing. Why would he? He's only this high.
Yeah, but he can maybe relate to the 8-year-old that would love to play this game.
Oh, 8-year-old. This is professional hockey we're talking about. Quit talking about 8-year-old and that. They have enough problem as it is. What about John Cordick and Chris Nyland and them? What do you think they're around for? Don't worry about it.
Don Cherry will be back next week and the week after that. What's unfortunate is we'll probably still have this conversation about what's wrong with hockey. Hockey Night in Canada returns in just a moment.